What is up, fellow YouTubers? So, congratulations to New York City for legalizing it. Now, Trump just signed hemp farming on an industrial level. So basically, hemp farming on an industrial level is now legal because Trump just signed a bill saying, "Go for it, man." Which is good because Trump's sitting there with his tax cuts for him and his rich buddies. Trump's so-called tax cuts for the rich. That's going to end up costing this country $200 trillion over the next 10 years. And guess who's paying it? The lower and middle class are going to be paying for Trump's tax cuts. Just so him and his rich buddies can. Which, if that's your plan of action, I guess that's how you do. But here's the thing, Trump. You're going to legalize pot, make this country some money? Because, how do you expect this country to pay for that? We just got done fighting a long-ass war in Iraq and Syria. We owe China a shit ton of money. And now you want to sit here with your tax cuts for the rich. That's going to make this country so fucking broke it's not even funny. Unless we do something about it. And we've already got a good start to fixing those problems. Legalizing hemp on industrial use will help this country produce cleaner products and make some money along the way. Now, with marijuana being legalized in Trump's home city, it's only a matter of time, YouTube, before it's legal everywhere. I cast a spell with some friends of mine a long time ago, and I asked the deities if they could legalize weed. That was several years ago. And now, watching it play out, there's basically, 3 to 4 states that aren't even legal. Pretty much everywhere else in the country is legal for recreational or medical. Wyoming allows the use of CBD, and that's it. Which is a good start, Wyoming. Leave it to ass backwards Wyoming to be one of the last states to legalize it. This is something to think about, Wyoming. You waste $9.15 million a year in taxpayers' money just to combat zero tolerance for marijuana. When cannabis can be used to help so many people who have Parkinson's, people who have glaucoma, people who have Asperger's, people who have ADHD, people who have cancer, depression, and eating disorder, sleep troubles. When I think about how many benefits medical marijuana has for treating ailments, it's unreal, dude. There's so many medical problems that can be treated with cannabis, it's unreal. So marijuana has a lot of medical potential, and it also has the potential to make our country a shit ton of money. We gotta do something for this country's economy. We owe China a shit ton of money. We spent several trillions of dollars on the Iraq War and the war in Syria. There are people in this country who have no jobs because the economy sucks that hard. There are areas of the country, rural America, little small town America, where, the economy's dried up and people are struggling to make an honest buck. And I thought America was the land of opportunity. And if you gave marijuana the opportunity to work for us, you'd be surprised. And the simple fact of the matter is, YouTube, keeping cannabis illegal is the most unconstitutional thing you can do. Considering that George Washington smoked pot for his toothaches, our very first president, mind you, he also grew it. Our founding fathers are probably rolling over and pissing themselves in their own grave going, wait a minute. That shit's illegal? The fuck? And there are two main reasons why cannabis is illegal. One, racial, and two, greedy companies. The main reason cannabis is illegal is because it gave people an excuse to racially target minorities. And also because the cotton industry, the tobacco industry, the alcohol industry, the timber industry, the clothing industry that makes cotton clothes, the big pharma, drug companies. All these industries are bribing politicians big money. And all these industries are bribing politicians big money to keep it illegal. And the money they give those politicians, and the politicians grease the pockets of the police departments. And it's this bullshit system, It's like that one movie, what's it called? I think it might be Super Troopers. You know what? The one I'm thinking about, all those kids are driving. You see the opening scene? These kids are driving in a car. In the opening scene, like, dude, you're gonna have to eat another bag of weed, and they make this kid eat a bag of weed and some shrooms. And then he's just sitting there tripping out in the back, and the cops fucking with him. You know the movie I'm talking about. It's kind of like that, And you know what really pisses me off? Like, you got cops that smoke weed on and off duty, and then they arrest everybody else for it. Like, what? Come on. That is such... Tell you, one time I was walking down the street, and I smelled some marijuana. I could smell it, too. It smelled so good. I was like, that smells good. I look over, and there's a circle of cops talking to each other. A couple of them are smoking cigarettes, and I'm like... I look over, and I'm like, I know what you're doing. And I just got a big old shit-eating grin on my face, and I didn't say nothing. I just kept on walking. I'm like, that smells good. And I look over, and there's a couple of cops who are kind of looking down at the ground, like, kind of that look on their face, like, oh shit. I'm not going to say where I saw them or who it was, but I'm just like, dude, when I saw some cops smoking weed here, I didn't see them do it, but I could smell it. And when you got cops standing in a circle trying not to look suspicious, that kind of makes me go, wait a second. Wait a second. Wait, New York legalized pot. Where's the proof? Well, let's see. We have the damage report from the Young Turks and the video entitled New York Legalizes It! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Come on. There we go. Play the video.
For people who are living in New York, that lawless city on a hill, who don't enjoy the recreational marijuana that we do here in California. For people who are living in New York, that lawless city on a hill, who don't enjoy the recreational marijuana that we do here in California, things are about to change, and you're about to move into the 21st century. The developments have been taking place over the last few days. And essentially, the mayor or the governor, Andrew Cuomo, went and he said in a speech, he said this: "The fact is, we have had two criminal justice systems, one for the wealthy and well-off, and one for everyone else. The system has for too long targeted the African American and minority communities. Let's legalize the adult use of medical marijuana once and for all." And then the mayor doubled down and said, "Legalization done the right way will marry opportunity with justice. We have a chance to create a brand new industry that will lift up everyday New Yorkers. And we have a chance to choke off corporate America in the process and not let them get their greedy hands on this industry here in the state." So there's 2 points there.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's 2 approaches. One is there's been a lot of people who have been put in prison because we've criminalized medical marijuana, and what do we do about it? And the other one is, so if we are opening up the doors for a new industry here, who's going to be in charge of it? Because in the meantime, there have been a lot of small growers and mom and pop shops that have put together, their little storefront and sold weed, even though it's like not completely legal. They've done it for medicinal purposes, even though the thing is designed to look like, your average head shop.
Right.
But what do we do? What do we do with those 2 things?
I mean, I think, so that's something that's not being discussed in cities as this is being legalized. Kind of in the argument is, the first point that you had, the argument is that, well, all those people that are in jail or all those people who have, crimes and who have records because of marijuana, well, they were breaking the law at the time. So we don't want to change that. We're just starting over. But is it possible that it could be looked at as, now we've realized that this was a stupid law, and so those people just were ahead of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it either is something that should be criminal or not. And if you've decided that this shouldn't be criminal, then all of those people, before, when it was a criminal, you have to come out and admit that maybe was a mistake, that, times change. And there are lots of things that we did before that we realized were wrong, and we apologize for them. And also those same people because even when marijuana was legal, there were disparities when it comes to who was being punished for it, and drugs in general. And so,
and especially in New York City with stop and frisk,
and what Rudy Giuliani did to the city and to the criminal justice system in the city, and black and brown people. And
if you had any weed on you whatsoever, you would instantly be apprehended and taken in for things that they chalked up to cleaning up the streets. But it was just like this weird, racist, unconstitutional way of trying to get what they called a clean city, but was just super duper racist.
And it wasn't even just about having weed on you. A lot of times it was about being black or being brown, and then you would get pulled over, you would get stopped and frisked. And then they would find something, but there were the probable cause was being black or brown.
Right.
And so that's how, a lot of this kind of started.
Yeah.
They find stuff on you, during a search that really is probably a little unconstitutional. We were clear about that now.
Yeah.
But we weren't then.
And now there are 10 states that have truly legal recreational marijuana. That list is ever growing. De Blasio, what was crazy for me to learn is that for the first time in a decade, only now, the entire state legislature of New York is Democratic. And there's a lot of upstate people, but there's so many folks living in Manhattan, and it seems like it's the Senate finally shifted, so now it will be Democratic. And de Blasio and Cuomo really want to get out ahead of it, so when everyone comes back in January for the new session, that everyone's ready to go. So that's good for them.
Fascinating, and this is all kind of like Cynthia Nixon's platform that I didn't really hear much coming from them before that, but
But that's literally right. You're absolutely right. That was one of the things that in the wake of the Cynthia Nixon run for governor, that people were like, well, what? I feel like we worked so hard and we didn't get anything. Literally, as a result of her candidacy, de Blasio Cuomo had to shift. He shifted his entire policy on this, and now they're ready to go. And
because he's had years to say what he said a couple days ago. He's had years to say this.
Yeah, it's a $1.7 billion industry that he could create just by making it legal.
Yeah,
and no one gets hurt. It's not one of those things that makes you become violent. If anything, it just makes you kind of hungry and sleepy.
Yeah, Brooke pretty much said it like it is, it's one of those things. Unfortunately, like I said at the beginning of this video, a lot of this drug war is strictly propelled by racism and greedy companies. And you think with marijuana being legalized in Trump's home city, it's only a matter of time. Trump already signed hemp for industrial use, so it's only a matter of time before we see it, you know. It's only a matter of time before we see it fully legal. It's only a matter of time. Watch. Hopefully Wyoming's next. I mean, that Governor Gordon is down for legalization, but before he considers it, he wants to have, a serious discussion about it, which, that's totally 100% understandable. Like, he'll consider it if he has a good discussion about it, Wyoming is governed by Republicans, and Republicans love money. That being said, Wyoming, you waste $9.15 million a year just to combat a zero tolerance. $9.15 million a year in Wyoming Nights taxpayers' money. Now, could you imagine what Wyoming could do with an extra $9.15 million in its back pocket? Yeah. Now, having oil as a state income is nice and does make the state some money, but eventually the oil dries out, and then people move out of state, and, people who live in the state suffer if they make their living off of gas and stuff. So, we gotta think of other natural resources and alternative methods for making money. Otherwise, the state's going to be broke. You know what I'm saying, YouTube? Yeah. Anyways, wouldn't be a pipe thoughts without a little bit of this pipe tobacco. Hold on 1 second. So, it's only a matter of time, YouTube, before we see it legal in the state. It's only a matter of time before we see it legal all over the place. I mean, it's legal in Trump's home city, so it's only a matter of time.